everyone, my name is Cynthia. Let's talk books. And today, let's talk about one specific book. Let's talk about A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos. This is book one in the Mirror Visitors series. It's a series that was originally published in France, in French, and has been translated into English. I did read the English translation rather than the French original. And I have a lot of thoughts on this book. First off, I am including it in my Reading the French Classic series, even though it's not a classic. It's probably not even a modern classic yet. It's just a well-loved book originally published in French, and that's why I'm including it in here. I had also included it in the original kind of TBR video, and so I kind of wanted to keep it consistent that it's part of my series of videos. So, all right, thoughts on this. I just finished reading it last night, and overall, I'm giving it a 3 out of 5 stars. It is a good book. It has a lot of strong features, I think, but also some things that won't appeal to everyone. So first, let's start off with the good things. So some of the good things is the magical system. It's intricate, it is multi-layered, it's super fascinating. So we're following Ophelia, our main character, who has grown up in one of the arcs. The world of the Mirror Visitor is divided into arcs, kind of almost, I was thinking of them kind of like continents almost, but like further apart. And she has certain powers, and because people in her arc have certain powers, types of powers, but her specific powers are, one, she can travel through mirrors. Like she can hop from a mirror at the store to her bedroom by traveling via the mirrors. Now, this is a trait that several different people in kind of her arc can have, but it's very difficult, and she can do it. I really, really liked that part of it. The other magical power she has is that when she touches the objects, she can read their entire history. So all the people that have touched it, that have kind of imprinted something into an object, she can read that. And as a result, she works at kind of as a museum kind of curator in her world. That was really fascinating, and we mostly see that kind of, we begin understanding her world and her family in the first half of the book. Then we get to the part where she's engaged. Her family kind of arranges a marriage for her to a man, Thorn, from a different arc. And once she gets to that arc, we see a whole different kind of magical system. People are divided into different clans with different types of power as well. Kind of the power to inflict pain with their heads on other people, the power to create illusions. So all of that was intricate, complex, really, really interesting. And I think that is the strongest point of this book, is that magical system. That is what kept me reading, what kept me wanting more, was that magical system. Another huge plus for me is the main character, Ophelia. I really liked her. She is a kind of naive, sheltered, but really kind person. She has lived her entire life in an arc in which people are more or less kind to each other. And when she goes to her fiance's arc, it's a totally different world. I think there, the author was probably more inspired by kind of European court systems, in which it's all about intrigue, backstabbing, you can't trust anyone. There's a kind of royal presence there, although that's not what the world is, but sort of like that. And that was also where I found kind of more interest in the book. The second part of the book, where she's really in Thorns' world and she's trying to figure it out. And I liked being in her head from a point of view of like, this sucks. What the hell are you people doing? What's with all the backstabbing? What's with all the hating each other? Why? But at the same time, she is stuck in that world, so let's figure it out. She can be annoyingly naive at times, but I still liked her. I liked the naivete. I identified with it and with her, so that also kept me going. And just loved that aspect of it, the character building that Dabos does with her. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the negatives. One, there's multiple parts to this book, and there's really probably like 3 different parts. One, the part where we see Ophelia's world, and kind of the news of the arranged marriage is dropped and all that. Then the kind of trip to the fiance's arc to Thorns world, and then her staying at his house. Then third section is her at basically like almost the royal court, not officially the royal court, but it's this kind of sanctuary for nobles, and full of intrigue and backstabbing and all of that. And I felt like part of the negative is that it's slow build. There's not a whole lot happening. There are obviously things happening, but they're happening slowly. A lot of times we're just, figuring out what is happening rather than things actually, plot moving along. So in that way, I don't think it'll appeal to people who are more plot driven. I think there is a lot more character development here than plot, except at the end. There are in that little like points in the story where you get tons of plot and it moves, and then those parts can move really quickly. The other thing is the whole relationship between Ophelia and her fiance, and then Ophelia and the fiance's family. The fiance, I'm just gonna say it, and his family are really abusive. They have agreed to this arranged marriage for reasons we don't know. They clearly don't like Ophelia. They're clearly not interested in like making life easier for her. So we get the sense right away that like something's really off with this arranged marriage. And then like Ophelia ends up spending a lot of time with Thorns' aunt, who is a terrible person. Like, she's clearly battling her own issues, but is a terrible person, where she is basically torturing Ophelia for chunks of this book just because she can, or because she's jealous. And Thorn, in the meantime, is absent or actually participating in the abuse of Ophelia, not telling her much about his world. All he really tells her at the beginning is, oh, you're not going to cut it. I don't think you're going to cut it. This is going to be difficult for you. That's it. And then as she begins figuring things out about his world, he starts realizing that like, oh shit, you're actually maybe a nice person, and maybe I am not behaving correctly, but doesn't do anything to change his behavior. Like, or does very small things that don't really, it wasn't enough for me. So I'm not on board with this arranged marriage. I think that she can do a lot better, and we'll see where it goes, because part of what is happening here is that kind of the waiting period for them to be able to marry. Part of the marriage contract was, I believe, a year of being engaged before they can actually get married. And so that hasn't happened in this first book. And I want to add that the problem's not seeing a character go through problems, right? Trials and tribulation. You need conflict in the story. For me, the problem in this story with the abuse is that you're rooting for the main character. I was rooting for the main character, and you want to see some sort of payoff there, like some sort of balance to the abuse. Like, okay, she's going through these problems, but somehow she's getting through them, or there's something good happening, some sort of payoff for going through all of that. And at least in this first book, the payoff is minimal. I'm hoping eventually, since this is a series, that there will be payoff for the character having to go through all of this. But I would have liked a little bit more payoff in this first book there. But the magic system here is good enough that I'm going to read the second book. In fact, I already have the second book, The Missing of Claire de Lune. Claire de Lune is that kind of noble playground and sanctuary where she spends a lot of like the second half of the book. So I'm interested in what's going to happen here. The first one also ends in a little bit of a cliffhanger that does make me want to pick up the second one. So again, I think that Winter's Promise is a very solid book. I think that if you're into fantasy and into just like exploring magical systems, this might be a good option. If you don't like slow-paced books, if you like the way I described the relationship between Ophelia and Thorn, if that's really gonna bother you, then I would not suggest this book. But overall, it was a good read. A little slow-paced, but a very good read, and I am interested to see what Dabos keeps doing with the story. Right off the book. But that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.